Alright, gonna do a walkthrough here. I just took this unit back. This is one of the townhouses that I rent out. And people wonder why I do association. So if I'm gonna get something in this school district in like duplex, so 2-bedroom per side duplex, is gonna cost me somewhere between $550 and $650 depending on the exact location within the school district. So you know that $520 to $550 is gonna be low end. And then these units I can buy for just under $100,000. These are probably right around $220, $230 right now, this particular association. So I'll give you a quick tour of it. So these are pretty well maintained. So that's the unit. It's got a deck on the lower level there with a screened porch, and then a deck up above, and then a 1-car garage. I had to rebuild that deck here 2 summers ago. Pretty simple. There's no footings. It's just a floating deck. Alright, so we'll go on in. Okay, so I started bringing some paint in. I'm going to have some work to do. The previous renter had stuck this carpeting on top of this flooring. I do have some excess flooring and I got to make a repair here, but that's not a big deal. So we'll start with the living room. That's that sliding porch going out to the deck, and yes, I have some fly paper up there. As they were moving out, they had stinky garbage in there and a bunch of flies got in, so I got some fly paper to catch the flies, and it looks like it's worked. Gas fireplace. These are kind of a nice design. I got the door open to the utility room there. So pass through window into the kitchen. Got the older white appliances. Those are original since I bought it. I think I'm on like 7 years on this one, maybe 8. I did have to replace the dishwasher. But the older appliances last forever. If I get a brand new appliance, I'm lucky to get 2-3 years out of it. So when I see these older appliances, I get excited. I know the renters don't think much of them, but I do keep the garbage disposals in there. I'm torn on whether or not to remove them. For the most part, I haven't had too many problems. And when I have, they've been pretty easily fixed. Again, an old fridge, top freezer, things bulletproof. I did have to put in a new washer and dryer. See, I got more fly paper hanging there. And then a new water softener. But the water heater was here when I bought it. And then the older 80% efficient furnace. So that's the mechanical room. Pretty easy to maintain. And then they've got a little half bath right on the main here. You know, the stool. They've got some, well, it's got a wood ceiling there. There's some drywall repair. They had hung some stuff. This is the unit. Years ago when I first got it, I rented it to a young woman, and she goes, "Can I hang some pictures on the wall?" And I said, "Sure." And she was an artist, photographer, and she hung little tiny pictures like the little 4x6, or you know, the little tiny ones, and had like the entire walls covered in pictures with little nail holes on it. So I do ask them how many pictures they're talking, but I'm gonna have to repaint everything. I'm not gonna really blame these renters. It's been 2 rent cycles without me painting, so I've postponed this long enough, so I'm gonna have to do it now. Got a couple patches to make there. Previous renter to this one had a TV mount there that I never patched, and prior to that there was another one there. So all right, we'll take you upstairs. It's kind of a cool floor plan. You go up the stairs. I'll have to clean the carpets, and you go way up to a skylight. And you see that just to the right of the skylight? Yes, that's a smoke detector. And guess what? Every rental inspection every year, the city comes in and I have to test that. And then when I have to replace the battery, I gotta get a ladder out and go up all the way up there to replace that. Good news is they've just come out with the 10-year battery. I've been buying them, the 9 volts that have like 5 to 10-year rating, but now they're enclosed. So that's might be what I do next time. I'm hoping it's a year or two before I have to replace that one. Again, I got to paint the walls. Should probably try to paint the ceiling. I don't know if I'm going to, but I'm certainly going to paint that wall. You know, I got some holes to repair here. So this is the second bedroom. Got kind of a nice shelf up above. 2 closets here. Another smoke detector. You got the nice deck over the parking lot. So kind of a private deck. Nice window treatment on this one. That was courtesy of the renter. So not all bad. And then this is the master bedroom. I guess I gotta say primary, right? Not to offend anyone anymore. And then that door goes out to the deck. There's a little closet there. Vaulted ceiling, a little cubby above the closet, a little cubby above that closet, and then the walk-in closet here. It's about 100 degrees out. I'm not good with the humidity, so I'm dressed kind of funny. So if you see me in the mirror, don't laugh too hard. Okay, so this is the bathroom. I'm gonna have to clean that caulking. Kind of a mess there. This floor I think is salvageable. I'll probably need a new toilet seat. And then this is a new one. She said she slipped in the shower and caught this to catch herself and it broke. I'm gonna guess they hung a towel on it, and this is, women like to do this. Like if there's a towel here, they don't lift it off, they pull on it. So any towel bar I have, and I have a woman renter, they're usually young women, they'll just yank that towel bar right off. So then I started cutting out the sheetrock, and I'll put 2x4 backing on there, and I'll drive long screws in, and they're not going to be able to rip that off the wall. But that one, that little plastic, there's no preventing that, unless I put an iron bar there. Okay, so this is about $220 in today's market. And if I can get 2 of these, I'm at $440. I can't touch a duplex for, I mean, entry-level duplex in the area is going to be about $550, maybe $600. If it needs a lot of work, you might get somewhere in the low 5s. So I'll take 2 of these over a duplex here any day. And then to give you an idea of the demand, this is the one I put the ad out on, and I had over 50 people come. I just said I'm showing it between this time on this date, and the renter was currently living here, and I had over 50 people. I had that whole parking lot jammed, and they all came in. It was first come, first serve. Whoever applies is going to get it. So the demand is huge. The price is right. I can buy 2 of these for $100,000 cheaper than I can buy a duplex. But what about the association dues? Yes, they're a pain in the butt. But guess what? They set aside the budget for the driveway. They set aside the budget for the siding, the roof. I do have to budget for replacing of the mechanicals, but furnaces, air conditioners, and water softeners are pretty inexpensive, relatively speaking. And then they also they carry the homeowner's insurance, which is a huge nut to begin with. And then all I have to do is carry HO6 policy, which covers from the sheetrock in, and that runs me about 20-some bucks a month. So it's the only thing I lose on the association dues is the management fee of about 10%. So they still make a lot of sense financially. I know I would prefer to have duplexes, but they're just overpriced right now. And you can assemble these. When I started buying these were cheaper per unit than apartment buildings. And then there was a bunch of different neighborhoods like this, and the demand is huge. So Don't overlook these just because it's an association. These are usually pretty good deals. They're easy to rent, easy to manage. You do have the dues, but they do budget for you, so it does make it easier in some regards. So that's all I got. I'm gonna go cook dinner, and then I'm gonna start this project. Probably talking to the camera for a while. I'm gonna start this project probably late next week. I've got some help on this one, so the new renter's not gonna be in for a couple weeks. But Monday, Tuesday, I've got to turn another unit over. The renter's moving out Sunday. I've got Monday to get it ready, and the new renter's moving in on Tuesday. So I got to scramble on that one, and then probably take a break, and then Wednesday, Thursday, come back to this one and start painting. So just paint a little floor work and carpet cleaning, and then this one will be ready to move into. And usually I get 3 or 4 years out of a tenant here. The turnover isn't that huge. They are younger typically, or single, so then they do find that next place. I have found that if I get like an older person in, they stay a lot longer, so someone that wants to rent. So I've had one with 8 years in there. So you can get up longer tenants with the older people. The young people are still changing careers, getting married, getting divorced, that kind of stuff. I do like these. They're the bread and butter. The appreciation is better on single family. You can kind of do more leverage appreciation. You have so many comps on these that kind of hold that value down, versus single family, you can make them a little more unique and move that value up. But the rents and the demand isn't they're harder to rent, so even in this market. So that's all I got. I'll sign off and talk to you later.